So today's your ecosystems introduction. So what do you guys know about ecosystems? This can be something you read or something you've learned in a previous year. You can raise your hand if you want to share what you know about ecosystems. Anyone want to share what they know about ecosystems? It could be anything. How about Harry? Could you share something about ecosystems? It could be anything. So like what is an ecosystem? What's inside of an ecosystem? Like anything. Guys, you can raise your hand if you want to help Harry. What is an ecosystem? What's inside of it? What is it? What do you guys know? What is any of your prior knowledge? What do you know? You probably learned about this before. How about Neymar? Do you know anything about ecosystems? Do you know what makes up an ecosystem? What's inside of an ecosystem? Is it okay? I think someone's raising their hand. Kanan, what do you know about an ecosystem?
Ecosystem is all of the living and non-living things in a place.
Yeah, it's made up of non-living and living things in a place. That's 100% correct. Does anyone else have anything to add to that? Cherry, do you know anything about ecosystems? What would you like to add?
Ecosystem is community of living organisms in conjunction with non-living components of their environment.
Yeah, thank you. So you guys are definitely getting this. Does anyone else have anything else they would like to share? Okay, so let's start learning about ecosystems. So you guys got it correct. The big idea, it makes up all the living, once living, and non-living things interact in an ecosystem. All the living things need energy to grow, to survive and grow. So it's the living, which is like insects, bears, once living, like dead logs, dead leaves, and then non-living, which is like a rock or minerals or water. Okay? But I'm gonna have you guys give me some examples later on. Okay, so let's read. Katie, could you read the passage for me?
When you go to the beach, you find lots of living things, non-living things like sand and salt water, and also part of the beach. Everything that surrounds a living thing is its environment.
Thank you. So what is the key vocab word here? So we have, I'll go over a few, and then I want you guys to find me the final one. So some of the key vocab words is a non-living thing and living things. These are some key vocab words. Who can find the other vocab word? Raise your hand if you know what the other vocab word is. Roberto, do you have a guess on what the final vocab word is?
Environment.
Yeah, environment. Perfect. That's the final one. Good job. So we have environment. Okay. So these are all three important vocab words. Let's highlight environment. Who would like to define environment for me by reading the text? It is in the text. Let's have Chong Ha. So I highlighted the word. What are the words around that word? Starts off with everything. So an environment is what? Everything that
That's surround
yeah, it's
a
everything.
living thing
Mhm. Is its environment. Can you say the word environment with me? It's okay, just give it your best
The
try.
term environment refers to the natural setting in which we live. For example, a home environment refers to where we live, our home.
Yeah. Yes, we all have our own environments. She said her home is her environment. That is correct. I'll show you some of my stuff in my environment. Yeah, so environment is everything that surrounds a living thing. You guys are all living things. I am a living thing. Okay. So let's practice the word environment though. I would like Sophia, could you say the word environment for me?
Environment.
Thank you. Okay, as a class, let's all say, this is one of your main vocab words. So let's all say the word environment, okay? I'm gonna count down, you guys say it pretty loud, okay? So in 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, environment, very good job. So let's clear this and let's go over some things. What makes up your environment? So I'm asking you guys what makes up your environment, okay? My environment, I'm gonna give you guys some hints. My environment is made up of a coffee table. So right now, you guys are sitting on top of a coffee table. That's part of my environment. I got a couch, that's part of my environment. And I got a cup of water. Can anyone tell me, are these living or non-living things? Roberto.
Non-living thing.
Yeah, they're not living. My water isn't living. Okay, these are non-living things, but I do have some living things in my environment. Maybe there's a house spider. I'm sure you guys sometimes see a spider in your house. Ew. Ants. I always see ants in my kitchen sometimes. Yeah. They're sometimes just walking around if you're looking for them. And then the final living thing in my house is my sister. And this is my environment. This is my environment. So I'm gonna ask you guys, what makes up your environment? What's around you right now? Quang Vinh? So I just went over everything that makes up my environment. I have a cup of water. I have a couch. I have, what makes up your environment? What are you around right now?
Stick.
You have a sink or a stick?
A tree. By a tree.
Yeah, a tree. Okay, so you have a tree in your environment. Okay. I hear some living things in your environment. What else do you have?
Yeah.
Do you have a chair? Are you sitting on a chair?
Yes.
Yeah, so you have a chair in your environment as well. So it's all the stuff that is around you. This is my environment. Cherry, what's in your environment?
In my environment is book, laptop, iPad, the bottle of water, and the bed.
That's a perfect environment. Yeah, so you have a nice environment too. Yes, we all have different environments. So remember, let's go back to the definition real quick. Everything that surrounds a living thing. So this is just your surroundings. It is your environment. Okay? But this also has another meaning. And that's why it gets confusing. In this context, it's only the stuff that surrounds a living thing. But in science, we also learn the environment as being the big, like, people always talk about recycling helps the environment. Environment is seen as the entirety of the natural world. So the environment can mean other things, but in this context, guys, we are going to learn that environment is just everything that surrounds a living thing. Like your desk, your chair, okay? These are all the things that make up my environment, okay? Now we're gonna learn what an ecosystem is. So let's have someone read what is an ecosystem. I would like Neymar, could you read for us?
An ecosystem is all of the living things on and non-living things in a place. In an ecosystem, living things interact with each other and with non-living things part of their environment. Think of bees that use an outlook to build their hive. They gather nectar from flowers to make honey. A bear eats the honey. This interaction make up a part of an ecosystem.
Thank you. Yeah, so our vocab word here is what? What is our main vocab word? David, what is our main vocab word?
Ecosystem.
Yeah, ecosystem. And what is an ecosystem? Could you define it for us?
Just like the example, it's all of the living things and non-living things in a place.
Yeah, it's all the non-living and living things in a place. Thank you. There is one more thing I would like you guys to realize. So it's all the living things and non-living things in a place, okay? But the key thing is in an ecosystem, living things and non-living things interact. So these are all the key words that you guys want to know. So you have living things and non-living things. And an ecosystem is basically a big picture of how everything interacts with each other. Interact is the big word here as well. Because an ecosystem isn't just all the non-living and living things, it is also how they interact. That's the big thing here, is how they interact. As you can see, you have bees, okay? And they built their hive. So this is an individual in an ecosystem. They used an old log, which could be considered a non-living thing. The log, the tree has died. So this is a non-living thing. So this is a bee. So this is a bee that interact with an old log, okay? They also had to interact with nectar from a flower, and then a bear interacted with the bees and stole their honey. So it's how everything is interacting together. So let's look at a picture to kind of explain this. You guys can give me some examples. So this is a lot of words, but I made sure there's the words for every animal for everyone that wants to know what these things are called. Okay. So what are some interactions you guys know about here? So what are some interactions that you guys could tell me about these animals? And they can happen between the non-living and living things. I would like you guys to focus on the interaction, okay? So I'm gonna put up the word interact. This is a big vocab word, interact, okay? Can someone explain to me what it means to interact? Can someone explain to me what it means to interact with something? Kanan, what does it mean to interact with something? If I told you this fish interacted with these frog spawn, what would that mean?
It is an ecosystem.
Yeah, this is an ecosystem, but I'm just asking you about the word interact. What does it mean to interact with something? What does that word mean, interact? Okay, I'm gonna see if one of your classmates can help. Let's see who can help. Can anyone help with the definition to interact? Katie.
To interact is
Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys an example. I'm going to interact with a non-living thing. I'm going to pick up this water and drink it. I just interacted with a non-living thing. So interact is when two things, so if you interact with something, it means you're going to do something with it, do something to it, you're gonna touch it, you're gonna eat it. So this fish might eat this frog spawn. So this fish wants to interact with that frog spawn. This frog doesn't want that interaction to take place. Okay, so interact is something happening between two different objects. And this can be a living thing like me or you, and a non-living thing like how you drink water, or this could be you interacting with a living thing. Let's say you ate a bug, then you'd be interacting with a living thing. Or maybe you poke a bug, that is you interacting with a living thing. Can you guys give me one more example on something interacting in this picture? What is something that might interact? And it can be between living or non-living things. How about David? Can you give me something that might interact in this photo?
A frog is want to try to eat the dragonfly.
Yeah, the frog is gonna try to interact with the dragonfly and eat it. Perfect. And then could you guys start to list me some non-living things that you see? Some non-living things in this picture? Roberto, could you tell me a non-living thing in this photo? What's something that is not alive in this photo?
Pond. The pond.
The pond, yeah, the water. The water inside the pond, yeah. Let's try to go for two more. Harry, what's another thing that is not alive?
The rock.
The rock. And one more. This one's a little bit hard. This one's a little bit harder, unless you guys come up with one. There's a few more though. How about Lily? I haven't heard from you yet. Lily, what is something else that is not alive? The sun?
Sky? The sky.
Yeah, the sky. The sky is not alive. Yeah. So I got you guys a few. The nutrients, remember how roots absorb nutrients? Those aren't alive. Water isn't alive. The soil, sunlight. Sunlight is a non-living thing. And then the air, yeah, the sky. So the sunlight and air, they're all non-living things. Okay. And remember, an ecosystem is how these things interact. Okay. Technically, this duck, its environment is this frog. Remember, the environment is what's around it. The ducklings, the fish, the water itself. This is its environment. But the difference between its environment and its ecosystem is the ecosystem is how things interact with each other. What eats what? How do plants take up its nutrients? These are all different interactions. And these interactions, you guys probably have heard the words like food web, a food chain, all those things that you guys have learned before, those are interactions, and that is what makes up an ecosystem. But don't forget about the non-living things. Everyone loves to talk about food chains and food webs, but these non-living things are just as important as the living things, okay? And now let's go over the final word for today, a habitat. Okay, so I will read this one for us. Living things in the same ecosystem share resources. Many of them also share a habitat. A habitat is the space where a plant or animal lives. A frog habitat is a pond. A frog's environment is everything around the frog. So, this has a lot of information in it, and let's break it down because this can get confusing. So let me highlight the key word. Okay, so we got habitat. So the habitat is the space where an animal lives. So my house is my habitat. My house is my habitat. But my environment is everything inside of the house. So it's the stuff directly close to me. So this is just the space in which an animal lives. Okay, so a frog lives at a pond. Okay, but remember our other key vocab word is an environment. Here, let me draw that in a different color. Just remember, an environment is a different word. Okay, and this is everything that surrounds the frog, everything around the frog. Okay, so what is your habitat? I want to know what your habitat is. Let's see if you guys remember what your habitat is. Raise your hand if you know your habitat. Kwangvin, what is your habitat? Where do you live?
In Bắc
In the what?
In Bắc Ninh.
Oh, okay, yes, that's your habitat. I got you. Yeah, that could be your habitat. So that's where you live. It can be your habitat, so like that's like your pond. That's where you know all the restaurants, you know where to go get food, you know where to go to the grocery store. That is your habitat. That's awesome. Yeah. So that is a habitat. It's where you live. It's your vicinity. You know all the people that live in your space, okay? It's where you live. So what are these animals' habitats? What are these animals' habitats? What is this cacti? What's this cactus's habitat? How about Sophia? What is a cactus's habitat? Where does a cactus live? Anmin? What would be in a desert's what would be in the desert's environment? What would be in the cactus's environment? What would be next to the cactus? What might be next to the cactus?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
Yes.
Well, what makes up a desert? So what's the ground look like? Is there a lot of water in its environment? Is there sand? What's in their environment? Let's see if anyone can help. What is it in the environment? Harry.
The spicy lizard flower.
Yeah, so a lizard. Yeah, so a lizard could be part of its environment. The sand could be part of its environment. All the stuff that is around it. Okay, so let's go over another Habitat. So what are these animals' habitats? How about this deer? How about this deer, Katie? Where might a deer live? What is its habitat?
Its habitats may be in a field.
Yeah, a field. You know, that's perfect. I came up with forest, but deer also live in fields. So that your answer is 100% correct. There's multiple answers to this. Animals live in different places, even the same animal. So yeah, this deer could live in a field, a forest. And how about this crab? Anyone have the answer for the crab? Where does the crab live? Asia? Where does a crab live?
In the sand.
In the sand, yep. Yeah, the sand or the beach. Perfect. That's where it lives. It lives in the sand. And these are your definitions to remember. These are your definitions to remember. Environment, the living and non-living things that surround an organism. An ecosystem. An ecosystem is the combination of all living and non-living things interacting in one environment. Remember the interacting part with ecosystem. And habitat is the space where a plant or animal lives. Let's see if you guys can match them. So I'm going to turn on your annotation, okay? Let's see if you guys can match the definitions. So read the definitions and please match them. You have ecosystem, habitat, and environment. So 3, 2, 1, go. One straight line, guys. Make sure your lines are straight. Yep. That was a very good line. Yeah, Asia Roberto, that was good. That was good. Okay. Let's see if you guys are right. So I am going to draw lines connecting what you guys said. Okay. So this is what you guys said. So you have an ecosystem. Yeah, it's the combination of all the living things, non-living, and it's interacting. It's interacting. That's correct. Good job, guys. You have the environment. Okay. So this is everything that surrounds an organism. Perfect. And a habitat is a space where a plant or animal lives. You guys got 100% on that. Good job, guys. I'm really happy. That was really good. Yeah, so then if you click on it, it matches them for us, okay? And now, class is over, guys, but I'm gonna go over your homework. I would like you guys to draw an ocean ecosystem and a tide pool ecosystem. I heard you guys are watching Finding Nemo. Okay, so I'd like you guys to take one piece of paper and just draw some things that make up an ocean ecosystem and some things that make up a tide pool system, okay? How are they different and how are they similar? And make sure to use your vocab words, okay? So class is over today, guys. That is your homework. I hope you guys all have a good day, guys. Bye-bye, guys.